The new Mini is a great car for people looking for something fun to run around town in. But what if you're looking for something more? Meet the Cooper S John Cooper Works. It's got more power, bigger brakes, more equipment, and a bigger personality to boot. This, right now, is the ultimate Mini. The JCW wears two hats. One is Mini's hot hatch performance car, and another is a well-equipped flagship for the brand. It's loaded with gear including LED headlights, a widescreen sat-nav system, Harman Kardon stereo, sports seats, and more. It's a premium product, one that couldn't be mistaken for anything but a Mini. The Cooper's 2-litre engine is a gem, using just 5.8 litres per 100 kilometres of fuel to produce 170 kilowatts and 320 newton metres. That's plenty for a car this size, and more than enough for the little hatch to outgun some serious sports cars once on the move. Priced from just under $50,000 in the automatic variant we've tested here, the JCW costs around 10 grand more than a regular Cooper S and occupies fairly serious territory along cars like the Audi S1 and Volkswagen Golf GTI. This generation Mini is quite an alert car to drive. It's very crisp and quick to respond to steering inputs, and that also goes for the suspension. It can get a little bit bouncy, but for the most part it's a car that really does react well to driver input. Now the model we're driving now is fitted with Mini's optional 6-speed automatic transmission. It comes with paddles behind the steering wheel that will allow you to bat through the gears, a little bit like a Golf GTI DSG, although it's not a dual clutch transmission. It's a conventional torque converter auto that has a fairly sporty program and still gives you a nice little burp on the upshift and responds pretty quickly to driver inputs. And you also save 1 whole litre per 100 kilometres of fuel just by having the automatic. That is a massive difference, and it's something that will save you money over time. The Mini is bigger than ever, but not the most practical car we've tested, with a tiny boot and a rear seat that's fairly limited for space. Mini's pretty confident in the performance of the JCW, so they've taken us here to Phillip Island to give it a bit of a go around the track. Let's check it out. You can feel the performance straight away. The JCW reaches 0 to 100 in 6.1 seconds, and around Phillip Island it hits a top speed of about 210 k's an hour, or if you're somewhere with completely unlimited straight, you hit around 246. Not too bad for a little hatchback. Now, around Phillip Island, it's quite easy to see some of the performance measures that Mini's made to improve the performance of this car. To begin with, the brakes. Here we are braking now for the Honda hairpin, and this thing is just rock solid. It's got massive Brembo brakes on the front, 17 inches in diameter, and they leave barely any clearance at all to the wheels. It's a really purposeful look that I think is pretty cool. You can also feel the suspension work that Mini's done to make the JCW more friendly on track. It's quite stiff, there's not a lot of body roll at all, which is not too bad, and it's pretty compliant if you run across a curb or something like that. It doesn't unsettle the car too much at all. And one of the other factors that's important for the JCW is its dynamic traction control system. Now essentially that's a program that gives you a little bit more leeway in the stability control so that you can slide the car around and have a bit more dynamic fun with it, while also retaining a little bit of a safety net that catches you if you really do overcook things. It also retains an element of traction control, although it allows the front wheels to have quite a bit of wheel spin, which is pretty good on a wet day like this. Ordinarily on a day like today, if you had a regular traction and stability control system and a front wheel drive hot hatch, the car would just want a wheel spin and the computer would be just fighting you the whole time. But the Mini's pretty good in that it allows a fair degree of play, and it basically says, look, I understand what you're trying to do here, and we're going to have a bit of a slide and a bit of fun, but we're going to just keep a safety net on things so that it doesn't get out of hand. Pretty cool if you ask me. The highlight of the JCW for me is definitely its engine. It's so tractable. Here we are in 3rd gear, coming into a fairly tight hairpin, and we'll just cruise through here at fairly low revs and ease onto the throttle, and the thing just builds pace so quickly. This motor is very flexible. The 320 newton meters of torque is available very early in the rev range. It gives you a lot of flexibility and just encourages you to really tap into that engine and use it all the time. It's great around town, but it also means it's a lot of fun here at the track. The JCW is competent, but it lacks the edge offered by more engaging hot hatches. It's quick, but it doesn't dance around the way that others do, as though it's set up for everyday drivers rather than enthusiasts. The Mini John Cooper Works is good without being great. It might just prove that when it comes to small cars, more is not always better.